Always remember, your focus determines your reality.
In time, you will learn to trust your feelings. Then you will be invincible.
The greatest teacher, failure is.
Peace is a lie. There is only passion.
May the Force be with us all.
Before this Kybercron could be opened, it required more than study. It required connection. This record was unlocked through the guidance of Kybercron Archivist, Alessandris Richport. Their strength in the Force helps awaken what history is buried. Through her insight, this Kybercron opens. The Bendu, a philosophy of the middle. The philosophy associated with the Bendu does not ask its followers to choose a side. It asks them to reject the idea that sides are necessary at all. Where Jedi believe balance comes from suppressing darkness, and Sith believe it comes from embracing it, the Bendu philosophy teaches that balance exists independently of belief. Worldview is deeply unsettling. It suggests that wars over the Force are not inevitable struggles for truth, but symptoms of misunderstanding. To follow the middle is not to act heroically or tyrannically, but to accept that the galaxy will correct itself, often violently, without permission. The Bendu philosophy does not offer comfort, it offers perspective. And that may be why it is so often ignored. Night Sisters of Dathomir. To the Night Sisters, the Force is not something discovered, it is inherited. Their power flows through ancestry, emotion, and ritual. It is shaped by grief, rage, love, and memory. Where Jedi attempt to strip emotion away to access clarity, Night Sisters lean into emotion as the very source of strength. Their spells, talismans, and spirit-binding practices reveal a truth the Jedi rarely confront. The Force responds differently when approached through culture instead of doctrine. Power is communal. It is shared, passed down, and shaped by identity. The Night Sisters do not deny darkness. They ritualize it. And through that acceptance, they wield a version of the Force the Jedi never fully understood. Night Brothers. The Night Brothers represent the Force at its most primal. They do not meditate. They do not study prophecy. They survive. Among them, Force sensitivity manifests through physical dominance, rage, and instinct. Strength becomes belief. Combat becomes expression. The Force answers not philosophy, but will. This reveals something uncomfortable. The Force does not require discipline to exist. It can emerge in chaos just as easily as in peace. The Night Brothers show that the Force can be shaped by environment alone, by hardship, fear, and constant struggle. They are proof that even without understanding, the Force still listens. Guardians of the Wills. The Guardians of the Wills believe the Force is sacred precisely because it should not be controlled. Their order emphasizes faith, discipline, and awareness over manipulation. They train their bodies and minds not to command the Force, but to align with it. Where Jedi seek mastery, the Guardians seek harmony. They stand as living contradiction to the idea that power defines connection. One can believe without wielding. One can serve without commanding. In doing so, the Guardians remind the galaxy that reverence is a form of strength and restraint, a kind of wisdom. The Church of the Force. The Church of the Force represents belief without hierarchy. Its followers are not warriors or mystics, but civilians, ordinary beings whose lives are shaped by faith in the Force as a universal truth. They do not claim power. They do not seek authority. Their existence challenges a dangerous assumption, that the Force only matters to those who can manipulate it. The Church proves belief alone can guide lives, inspire sacrifice, and endure persecution. The Force, to them, is not a weapon. It is meaning. Barandu sages. The Barandu sages approach the Force as a science of probability. Rather than attempting to change the future, they observe it through visions, atmospheric shifts, and subtle currents. The Force becomes a forecast, not a command. This stands in stark contrast to Jedi prophecy, which often treats visions as calls to action. The Barandu teach that not every future is meant to be prevented. Some are simply meant to be understood. They remind us that foresight does not grant authority, only awareness. Matukai order. The Matukai believe the Force flows through motion. Their discipline centers on physical conditioning, breath control, and combat. The body becomes the conduit. Pain becomes focus. Exhaustion becomes clarity. They reject the idea that serenity is required for connection. Instead, they prove that struggle itself can sharpen awareness. The Force responds not just to calm, but to intensity. In the Matukai philosophy, mastery is not stillness, it is endurance. The Falanasi. The Falanasi believe survival is the truest form of wisdom. Their use of the Force focuses on illusion, concealment, and misdirection. They do not confront enemies, they vanish from them. This approach reframes power entirely. Victory is not dominance, it is persistence. The Force becomes a tool for evasion rather than conquest. They remind us that the most powerful move is sometimes refusing to be seen. The Zepho. The Zepho were an ancient civilization obsessed with destiny. They believed the Force revealed inevitable futures and built their society around prophecy. Their rise was guided by visions. Their fall came when those visions were misinterpreted. The Zepho are a warning etched into ruins. Belief without humility leads to collapse. The Force may show paths, but it does not guarantee understanding. They stand as proof that reverence alone does not prevent ruin. The Rakata. To the Rakata, the Force was fuel. They extracted it, consumed it, powered technology with it. Their empire demonstrates the most dangerous relationship possible with the Force, treating it as a resource rather than a living presence. The result was domination, suffering, and eventual collapse. The Rakata show what happens when power is stripped of respect. Sorcerers of Tund. The Sorcerers of Tund externalized belief. Rather than discipline or meditation, they focused on artifacts, objects infused with Force energy and meaning. Power was stored, transferred, and inherited through relics. This approach reveals that belief can be embedded, not just practiced, but it also introduces risk. When power exists outside the self, it becomes tempting to hoard, steal, and misuse. Knowledge without restraint becomes dangerous very quickly. Lasat mystics. The Lasat do not ask what the Force is. They ask where it leads, roots revealed through vision and tradition. The Force guides migration, survival, and identity. To the Lasat, the Force is not abstract. It is practical. It tells them when to move, where to go, and how to endure. The Force becomes a compass, not a philosophy. The Mira Luca. For the Mira Luca, the Force is biology. Born without physical sight, they perceive the galaxy entirely through Force awareness. Shape, emotion, and movement are all sensed, not seen. This makes the Force inseparable from daily life. There is no distinction between belief and function. The Force is not something they use. It is how they exist. Their culture proves the Force can define perception itself. The Jedi and Sith argue over ownership, but the Force has never belonged to them. Across the galaxy, cultures have lived alongside it, shaping it, interpreting it, and surviving through it in countless ways. The Force does not demand allegiance. It demands understanding, and those who try to control it most completely are often the ones who understand it the least. The Kybercron closes, until the next Archivist awakens it. If this holocron stirred something, if it made you question what the Force truly shows, subscribe. More Kybercrons are already open. Forgotten knowledge, buried truths, and echoes the Jedi tried to silence. You'll find them waiting in the playlist on your screen. And now, the archive turns to you. If there's a lost truth, a question, or a shadow in the lore you want uncovered next, leave it in the comments below. Every Kybercron begins as a fragment, and some of the strongest fragments come from those who listen closely. If your idea becomes the next episode, your name will be entered into the archive and spoken aloud when that Kybercron is opened. Knowledge is meant to be shared until the next Kybercron is unsealed and another truth is brought into the light. This is Jalen Tross, Keeper of the Kybercrons, signing off.